which is where I like to do it. I decided to start this podcast just like that. I don't even have the design drawn. I don't have anything. I don't even know the name of the podcast, but I think all of those details are unimportant, which is why this particular podcast we're going to be talking about starting new things. One of the major things I've learned over the years is that when you're starting anything new, you don't necessarily have to know the unimportant details. Like, oh, I want my I want the launch to be perfect. I want the design to be perfect. I want this to be perfect and that to be perfect. Most of the times, all of those things will not guarantee that you'd be successful. Also, let's talk about like launching new things, maybe launching a new skill that you've learned or launching a new business. One of the major things that I have found that a lot of people do wrong is that they launch big. But yeah, before we even get into all of those things, let me tell you guys about last week. Um, yeah, I'm not going to lie. Last week was brutal on me, mostly because we'll talk about some of these things. Oh, we'll talk about them. But last week was pretty brutal because I ignored a lot of systems that I put in place to make sure that I don't burn out. I ignored them and just tried to do things rapidly because I wanted to just, get things done as fast as possible. At the end of the day, I wasn't able to get anything done. So I ended up just extremely tired. I had to sleep a lot during the weekend. I just left all the, not like I left the platforms, but I just wasn't posting anything or creating anything or attending to anything. I just left everything, rested my brain, made sure that I felt a lot better, then came back. And this morning, I was writing a newsletter and I was thinking to myself, there are a couple of things I want to share, not necessarily with written words, but just with my mouth, you know. And I was thinking, oh, I should probably do this podcast thing that I've been thinking of doing since. Now, you see this podcast thing, I had an artist design a cover for me for this for a podcast I wanted to create. That was about 2 years ago now. And I never really posted it. I never created the podcast. I never, because I was overwhelmed with work. And I'd done this whole big launch, made people look forward to it, but I never launched it. And I guess it all ties back into this conversation we are having about starting and launching new things. I think that it helps to not, and this is not to say um you should undermine yourself. But one of the lessons I've learned is that you probably don't want to call a crowd on your head when you've not figured out the ropes of the thing that you are doing, right? You probably don't want everybody in your business when you've not figured out the specifics of it. And I guess that when people want to start new things, they are just like, oh, let me make noise about this thing. Let everybody know. Let everybody patronize me. Let everybody buy from me, and I'll probably become successful or something, something, something. But what I've learned is that you just call a crowd, and if you really didn't do your actual research on what you are doing, you're just going to show your mediocrity to a large number of people at the same time. And sometimes it is very hard to come back from that. So I think it's smarter to start as small as possible, which might be counterintuitive for most people because they want to launch big and like, get this massive sales so they can like show, oh, sold out gang and all of that. But I don't think it's practical. I think it's more sensible to to start small. So if you are going to start a business, I think it's smarter to reach out to people one by one, which is something I call DM marketing. By the way, I have a course on this, BDS. I think it's smarter to start with the DMs, like talking to people one on one, as opposed to launching big with broadcast messages, which is what a lot of people do. A lot of people would want to launch a business, and they'll make like a flyer and they'll send it as a broadcast to everybody that they know. I don't think it's very effective. Yes, they will share with their friends, and but you need to consider that if you're just launching something, a lot of people may not trust you enough to want to do business with you, right? Given that you are new, you are just starting. But I guess a more common or recent practice I've seen is with people who are launching their business on TikTok, that they would they would then um they would then share like a their story of how they went about launching this particular new thing or something, 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 and people will follow with the story. And then when they launch, they'll launch to a large customer base and all of that. I have my reservations about it, to be fair. I have my reservations, but I believe that it's a lot better when you start out with one-on-one marketing, right? You're talking to people one by one, you're finding out what they like, why they will buy your product and why they won't buy your product. You're finding out what they are interested in and what they are not interested in. And so because you are talking to customers one-on-one, you kind of understand the pain that they are feeling relating to your product. And when you understand the pain they are feeling relating to your product, it makes it quite easier for you to pitch to a larger group of people. And this is something I was talking about on my WhatsApp status recently, where I was saying that I recommend talking to your customers one on one, right? Getting to know your customers, getting to know the people whose pain you are solving. Now, this is something we would do under brand strategy, which I think is I think is one of the most important parts of launching any business, any idea, anything to the world, like branding it properly. So one of the things we do when branding is figuring out the target audience and figuring out their pain points. But one of the major things is if you've not spoken to your customer, you cannot really understand their pain deeply. You might have like a theoretical knowledge on, oh, they might be facing these issues because I probably face these issues, but you have to really talk to people so much that when you now think of solving their problems, you don't see them as numbers that would, like, you don't see them as random figures in your bank account. You see them as actual people who have probably saved money to buy your product or who have been thinking about solving this problem, and your product just happens to come along and it's able to do that for them. So I think launching small often is a lot better than going all out and investing so much when you don't know whether the thing is going to fail, right? And this is something that personally I have seen a lot of people fail in business. I started actively building my business in the Nigerian space about 2 to 3 years ago, and I've seen a lot of people give up and just get jobs or just give up and start something new in a different industry, right? And if you don't know, I'm in the digital marketing industry. And the way I'm making this podcast, if I'm not even trying to, I guess we'll do a different podcast where I will explain who I am and all of that. I'm just assuming that you know me because I intend to launch this to a small audience, just like what I'm explaining, right? I intend to launch this to an audience that already knows me. So, what was I talking about? Yeah. One of the major things that you want to do is you want to actually launch small and refine your processes as you go. And it might not look fancy, but business is not fancy. You don't know whether you will fail. So the more I think it's not practical or sensible to incur too many expenses when you are just starting out, right? You want to keep your expenses as low as possible. Um, of course you want to be profitable, but you have to also be very careful. You need to know that this is a risk, and there's this thing where you think you are investing, so you are just going all out without considering what you stand to lose. Like your whole mind is, oh, I'm actually investing, and like, yeah, I'm investing, blah blah blah. So you're not really thinking about the costs and the fact that an investment is a risk, and you can invest all of this money into this business, 500k, 700k, 1 million, 3 million, 5 million, and you might fail. I know people who have bought a lot of goods and they've been unable to sell it off, right? Because they did not really have a customer base. And those who even did a lot of, big launches and stuff, and after the launch, people bought during the launch, and after the launch, they were not able to sustain, right, or build a strong business. So I know people like that. So this thing I'm saying, it's a very, very important message for anybody that is just thinking about starting a business. Don't cut too much noise on yourself in the beginning. Just try to serve a couple of customers and do your absolute best to um satisfy them, right? Ask for their feedback. What did they like and what did they not like? And try and improve based on that feedback that you get from them. And I think that it's a lot better than it's a lot better actually than, rushing yourself, and at the end of the day, or let me say, like, just doing too much and at the end of the day losing a lot of money. So I'll launch small, I'll refine my processes, and then from there I would talk to my customers, improve on my service, get testimonials, and then I can now start saying, okay, let me look at more ways to pull a crowd, more ways to get a lot of people to notice me in the market, right? When I prove that I'm actually trustworthy and I'm worth it. It looks very slow, but in the long run, it's more sustainable because you learn more and with lower pressure, right? You don't end up offending too many people, and you are not like constantly thinking, a lot of people know about this thing and they're going to watch me fail or something. Everybody knows I started this business. How would they feel if, they now start seeing that, oh, I gave up or something like that? You actually reduce the pressure, and it makes your life a lot easier. So those are some of the things I was thinking about during the weekend about launching stuff. So I'm following my own advice with this podcast too. I'm just creating it without any ceremony or without telling people, oh, I'm going to do this big thing, big thing. I'm just going to do it, and I'm just going to be consistent at it. And people would eventually notice that consistency and, build the organic traction, then start to invest in inorganic channels for the marketing. Now, another thing is, you can totally launch something and launch it with inorganic. It's faster to test your assumptions. For instance, now when we launched the mastermind, which is the mastermind is the monetize your mind mastermind, is where I teach people how to monetize their skills, how to, get better with their business, and how to build um stronger business that brings in money every single month. Yeah, so when I launched Monetize Your Mind Mastermind, we did not launch it to the public first. We started with DM marketing. We talked to people one on one, convinced them. Then I launched it on my status after I knew that, oh, people are already interested. And then we got in a couple of people more, and then I've been marketing with my status. Now, I could have made a lot of noise about it before I actually figured out the product. I could have shouted, told people that this is the best thing since sliced bread, market like crazy, get a lot of people in, and struggled to execute and to get people results. But one of the things I have realized with going by that model is how much you can lose your credibility by launching big the wrong way, right? You can easily lose your credibility. So instead, we opted to make sure that we have refined the product, we've gotten people some level of results or some level of transformation and progress in their lives, and we have we have and they are doing a lot better than they were doing when they started. Right? All of this made it, um let me say, all of this made it easier. Basically, all of this made it easier for us to now say, okay, now that we've tested that our product is a good product, the people using our product or using the service, they love it. Can I say, okay, yeah, let's go all out and start doing other marketing channels and start doing other forms of marketing, other paid marketing, right? The first couple, I guess the mastermind has made quite a lot of money, kind of. We have about 50 members right now. And I was like, okay, now that we're ready to move out, um here's how we're going to go about that. We can now spend money marketing using the money that the mastermind already made. And this is just considering the fact that I already have an audience, right? I already have a community. I already built a community before launching a product, which is what I advise most people to do. Right? Start with a community and get to know people, get to know their pains, get to know what they are going through. And once you really understand people, you understand what they are going through, you love them enough to want to create solutions and services that solves this problem at scale, then yeah, it's definitely gets a lot better. It gets a lot better. But I just thought to myself that I was going to make this podcast. In fact, I just picked the topic a couple of minutes ago. I was like, let's just do this thing once and for all. But yeah, the mastermind has been awesome. Really, I've put a lot of energy into it, and we started small. We've built the product slowly. We've made sure that we've added a lot of things for the members, both freelancers and business owners, and we even have a couple of affiliate marketers in there. We've just added things that would make their journey a lot smoother, right? A lot of resources, from courses to guides to templates to the mentorship aspect of things, to the accountability aspect. So we've done our best to just make sure that we have a solid product, and then we're now, say, working towards scale, right? Because we know that the product is good. So you definitely don't want to launch too big. You want to talk to people, make sure that that you at least understand the messaging, you understand what people are responding to, you understand their pains, you understand their fears, you understand some of the things that they are not quite doing well, right? And slowly build a community, a loving community around your product, as opposed to launching big and not people just buying from you just because, not because they believe in your vision for the thing that you are doing. Then again, I think you probably shouldn't start a business because everybody is doing it, right? It's not for everyone. Being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. You clearly need to have some end goal in mind, and that end goal cannot just be about filling your pockets. It also has to be about people as a whole, humanity as a whole, and the vision that you have for people outside of just money. Because these are some of the things that would impact the quality of work that you deliver. Because business is very hard. I'm not going to lie to you. Business is very hard. And if you don't have a strong reason for starting, you are going to quit eventually. So yeah, I didn't know that I would talk this long. I just thought I'd do like a 10 minutes clinical, and that would be all. But I'm super excited to be doing this. I'm super excited to be sharing my thoughts. I don't know what the frequency will look like. I can't promise any sort of frequency. As you know, I run a marketing agency. I also run the mastermind, and the marketing agency helps like 4 or 5 businesses run their businesses. So you can imagine the amount of work that we have on ground. So all I can say is that um I'll try my best to create more podcasts or more episodes for you guys. If you actually loved this episode, you resonate with some of the things I'm sharing here, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Make sure you share with your friends who are thinking about starting businesses as well. I don't know, I just rambled a lot. in my next episode, I'll try to have more concise thoughts and try to, have a bit more structure, which is part of what I was explaining in this, that you figure it out as you go, right? As opposed to getting it all right at once, which you will never do. But yeah, so yeah, it's going to get better as time goes on, but I want it to be as low effort as possible so I can commit to it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.